redundancy in the primary region. Um, so basically, you're trying to see if like how your data is replicated in the primary region. Okay, so and we know there are three types. We have, so we have locally redundant storage, zone redundant storage. In fact, two types. All right, um, so it's always, so in an Azure storage account, it's always replicated 3 times in the primary region, and the reason being is we want redundancy, right? So if uh, if one thing fails, we have two others, right? So Azure storage offers two options for your data, for how your data is replicated in the primary region, and you have locally redundant storage, which is LRS, and you have zone redundant storage. Okay, so there are two different ways where you can have data replicated in the primary region, right? So the three, talking about locally redundant storage and zone redundant storage. Now LRS, or locally redundant storage, so replicates the data 3 times, which you know, within a single data center. So if you look at this image here, so you have a data center, and you can see the 3 copies are uh, within the confines of this data center, or boundaries. So and LRS provides at least 11 nines of durability, which is this figure, right, of objects over a given year. It's is the lowest cost redundancy option, okay, and offers the least durability. Even though it's 11 nines, it still is the least durability compared to other options. And LRS protects your data against server rack and drive failures. So if you in a data center, if you have one server rack failing, you still have two others, right? And however, if a disaster such as a fire or flooding occurs within the data center, meaning it affecting most of the components and data in the data center, and you can't do anything about it, right? Because you have everything under one data center. All replicas of storage account using LRS may be lost or unrecoverable. To mitigate this risk, Microsoft recommends using ZRS, or Zone Redundant Storage, or Geo Redundant Storage, or Geo Zone Redundant Storage. Alright, so just to recap, locally redundant storage, it's basically, it talks about replicating data, right? 3 times, but within the data center, and this is normally good, or it helps in scenarios where in a data center you have a server rack failing. So if that's the case, you can still use the other two copies, but it won't help if the whole data center fails, right? I mean, if we have some flooding or some fires or whatever happening, it's not recoverable. So what Microsoft recommends is using other options like ZRS, GZRS, or GRS, right? And locally redundant storage is the least durable and the least um, and the lowest cost, right? This is, and the whole topic is talking about redundancy in the primary region, right? So talking about that in the primary region it has replicated 3 times in the primary region, and but depending on how your data is replicated in the primary region, we are um, categorizing it into locally redundant storage and zone redundant storage.